My name is Mike Courson. I'm privileged to be the pastor of the First Christian Church in Beardstown, and I'm here today with Jay Little, one of the elders at our church. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you.
And thanks for doing this video with me. And I want to thank you for tuning in to this video as well. If you call First Christian Church your home, your family, like Jay and I do with our families, you hopefully have received a letter from the elders this week. It could still be coming in the mail. If you didn't get one, it was an oversight. We'll be happy to get one to you. Just contact us at the church office and we'll do that. But we're like a lot of other churches during this pandemic, and that is that our on-site worship attendance is down drastically since shutting down because of the pandemic several weeks ago. And we're doing a little better than some churches. We think we've got about half of our folks coming back to an in-person service. Of course, we want as many people as possible to come and to worship with us on site. We think there's something very significant and special that happens when God's people gather for worship. So we just want everybody to be here. So we talked to a lot of people that haven't returned yet and asked, what the reasons were that they haven't come back yet. And we heard really the same things. We heard concerns about social distancing. We heard concerns about cleaning and sanitizing of the building. But the issue that came up more times than anything else was the issue of masks. A significant number of people said, we just don't feel comfortable in coming to a public worship service where everyone at that service is not wearing a mask like we are. So long story short, the letter outlines the decision that the elders have made to offer our first worship service on Sunday morning that starts at 8:30 as a service where masks are required. And when you're in the building for that service, we're all going to be wearing a mask. Second service, we certainly recommend the wearing of a mask, but we're not requiring it. We understand this isn't an easy decision. We don't want it to be a divisive issue. We just want it to be something that we're doing that gives everybody an opportunity to attend a service where they feel the safest, whether that's first service with a mask or second service choosing not to wear a mask. In the letter, we couldn't possibly address all of the questions maybe that you have relative to this decision. So we thought we might answer a few of those on this video and get a chance to share our heart with this as well. So Jay, I'm going to start with this first question because people have asked me already this question. Why did we choose first service as the service for mask required as opposed to the second?
Well, I'll be glad to go into that. On Saturday, we have a lady that comes in and cleans the sanctuary, and she does a very thorough professional job.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunday morning, first service, the sanctuary is clean and sanitized. And if people have concerns about safety and COVID, I think that would be the best scenario to bring folks into. They would not have had other people in there before them, and that'd give them a sense of security.
Absolutely.
And talking about masks, we also have masks at the door available. If you don't have one at home, don't let that stop you from coming.
Okay. And I know we're going to address this in just a little bit. Not only is the building as clean as possible when people get here on a Sunday morning before first service, but a lot of work and effort goes on between services to make sure those coming to second, it's clean as well. I'm going to, in just a little bit, have you address some of that process. Another question that came, and it was one even that I asked at our elders meetings, was why don't we start an additional service? Why don't we have a third service, either on Sunday morning or maybe even another night of the week, and then make that the service where masks would be required? And I want you to know, we gave good consideration. I think you would agree, Jay. We gave good consideration to that type of a decision. Starting another service is a big deal. it's not just something you decide to do and you roll that out the next week. Especially if we were to offer another service on a weeknight, we've got to be able to provide staffing for that, musicians for that. So we didn't feel like a third service is something that we're ready for at this time. It may very well be something we do in the future, because we've talked about that even before COVID, of offering another service that would provide a time for people maybe who work on Sunday and can't come to a service on Sunday. So that was talked about as an option, but we just didn't feel we had the people resources to pull that off right now. Hey, a while ago we talked again about what happens here at the building to provide a clean, safe environment for worshipers. Go into a little bit more, Jay, on practices that take place so that people come for either service and know that we've done everything we can do to provide a safe, clean experience for them as they worship.
We're trying to make this so you don't have to touch any surfaces you don't need to. We, for the most part, block the doors open so people can walk in without grabbing a door handle, or there is someone there, a greeter, that would open the door for you. We still have paper bulletins. We put those out in a way so you don't have to touch a whole pile of them. We try to keep everything as clean and neat as we can. And when you enter the sanctuary, we are social distancing people. They seat them in groups of families or couples or people that even ride together in a car to church. And then we keep 6 feet between the next group so that folks aren't right on top of each other and they have space. And that's one of the CDC guidelines. And then after that, we have open pews between rows so that it's easier to pass our communion trays, which brings us to, we even do communion different. We stack the cups on top of each other. We pass the trays, the ushers do, so that people take their own individual cup of juice and bread. The bread's in the bottom, the juice is on top. They partake, and then you invert the cups one on top of the other so that it stays clean. And we're doing everything we can after service as well to sanitize the pews. We clean the restrooms, we wipe off every doorknob, every surface, every table, so that when you come, first or second service, it's as clean as we can get it, and we want you to be here. That's the main thing, is come on down. We miss our church family.
Yeah, appreciate that, Jay. Good explanation. I thought of a couple things as you were talking. First of all, obviously when you social distance, you limit the number of people that you can have in the sanctuary at one time. What happens when we believe that we've put every person safely in our sanctuary? What happens to those who we've not found a place for yet?
Sure, we've created some overflow spaces. For example, our fellowship hall, we've set up chairs that are not right next to each other. We have a TV screen that has the service on it, and communion is brought out to the fellowship hall, and we're doing everything we can to accommodate an overflow crowd should we have one. As a matter of fact, the leadership has been asked with their wives to come out here into the fellowship area so that there's space for other folks.
Yeah.
So we'll do all we can to accommodate people to come.
Absolutely. You come, we'll find a place for you that's safe, because we want you to be here and worship with us. Jay did a good job of leading us through this process that takes place on a Sunday morning when you come to the building, while you're here, and when you leave. Next week, we're actually going to post a video on our website and on our Facebook page where we've shot some video snippets of everything that takes place from the time you get out of your car and you come to the front door of the church until you're leaving our building on your way home. So I'd invite you to check that out, and it'll show you what an average Sunday looks like as we work hard to try to keep this place clean and safe. So be sure and check out that video as well. The question comes, and everybody's got this on their mind, I'm sure, what criteria will be used when the time comes to give what we might call the all clear sign. We don't know with this pandemic how long it's going to last, what this is going to look like next week, next month. by now you figured out that things tend to change daily. We believe there'll come a time when it may not be completely normal, but we will in fact be able to get back to worshiping in a similar fashion prior to this pandemic. We can't give you a clear answer on when that clear call may come, to say, okay, we're gonna begin doing it this way. Mask won't be required, and we'll do these things. Here's the promise that we'll make to you, and that is, with the same amount of prayer and seeking God and discussing and talking with people, we will use all of that to make a decision for removing any of these guidelines, as we used in creating and making the decisions that we've made. We need you to trust us on this. We want to make sure going forward that we are providing the safest, cleanest opportunity for people to come and gather and worship. And we know it's not exactly like it used to be. We miss being able to shake hands and to stand face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and have a conversation with people. We're trying to provide areas for that. We've got an area in the fellowship hall right here where we're filming this video, where after a service, if people want to come here and socially distance themselves from each other and carry on a conversation, we want that to happen. We offer free coffee and drinks and donuts just outside of our building so people can gather out there and fellowship together. We're trying to make this as good and normal as it can possibly be. But again, we will give due diligence when it comes time to make another decision. Jay, as we close, I thought we might just talk about this. The letter highlights, what our pure motivation is in making this decision. A decision we know that not everyone will agree with. We understand that this idea of mask has become kind of a divisive issue. And we're calling for unity and harmony and peace in the midst of this pandemic. So we just want you to know that purely our motivation behind the decision, I'll speak first, Jay, from my heart, and then give you a chance, is we want to see people return to worship. We miss you. We miss having this body together again. Nothing against online worship, but it's hard to shepherd and minister to people through a screen or with a camera. There's something about the body of Christ being together. And we want people to be safe in this area, not just those that we're urging to come back, but those that have already come back. We want those folks to feel like that we're doing everything we can to make this a safe, special place for them to come back and to worship. Jay, share a little bit about your heart, and then I've got just one other statement I want to make as we close.
Sure. I'd just like to say that normal is a moving target these days. Everything has been changing just so rapidly, and the rules have changed. But the one thing that is constant is we want to be a church family.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss being with my church family. There's folks I haven't seen for months, and it's just not the same without you. So if you get a chance, if there's any way possible, come home. We'd love to see you. We'll do our best to protect you. Safety is one of the things that's been on our minds just very much the last few months. And what can we do to make things as good as we can make them? Yes, it won't be quite the same, but it's better than not having any interaction with our church family. So we'd love to see you. Come home, and we'll just love to see you when you get here.
Thanks, Jay, for sharing that. And we understand it'll never be perfect, but we need to make it as good as it can be. And to do nothing, I think on our part as elders, is not to be the shepherds and overseers that we need to be. Again, you may disagree with the decision, but I hope you trust the hearts of your shepherds, and that is that we believe we need to adequately minister to this body. And then I want to throw one more word in as we close, and that's the word mission. Not only are we concerned about safety and bringing people back into public gatherings so that we can worship the Lord in a special way, but First Christian Church has the mission of bringing people to an ever-growing relationship with Jesus Christ. And we believe the public gathering is kind of what propels us and motivates us in doing that. So we see having a service where a mask is required and having another one where, yeah, it's recommended, but not required. It looks like we give all of us an opportunity to reach out to someone we know who's not going to church right now because of whatever reason, and maybe we can provide a service for them that they would come to. The one who doesn't feel safe in going to a service where masks aren't being worn, we can reach out to them and invite them to a church service. To another person who believes that masks are important, but maybe you shouldn't have to wear one all the time, we have a service for those folks as well, our second service. So to my FCC family, I want to say be looking for people and watching for people that we can reach out to during this time that are seeking the Lord maybe for the first time. And we would love to have them here so that we can minister to them and share Jesus with them. As always, if you have a question or a concern, don't be afraid to address that to one of your elders. God bless you all, and thank you for joining us for this video. Thank you, Jay, for joining.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.